Well, gracious greetings, St. Stephen family and guests. Welcome to another edition of Living Water for Thirsty Thursday. We've been talking about the ABCs of Bible study tools. We've talked about Bibles, we've talked about commentaries, and today we're going to talk about concordances. Speaking of concordances, I have one here that my grandmother gave to me back in 1989, and I must say that every week since then, I use this concordance at least once, twice, sometimes 3 times a week. For sure, it is the most utilized book in my library. And so thank you, Grandma, for giving me this book. But today I want to speak about a more modern concordance. That's a Strong's concordance that my grandmother gave me, but this is the new Strong's Expanded Exhaustive Concordance of the Bible. This also happens to be a red letter edition that has the Hebrew and Greek dictionaries in it as well. And as I always mention, like since we started this off, is to make sure that you do always take time out to read the publisher's preface, and that it gives you so much valuable information as to why the author, the publisher, actually printed or wrote or compiled this work. And so definitely important to do. But a concordance, when you get to the main concordance page, what is a concordance? Well, it's just an alphabetical listing of words that are found in the Old as well as the New Testament that are in order. And you can go and you can learn more about each one of those words found in the Bible. For example, I figured we may as well do a little exercise with that. And so we start off with a word that I'm sure all of us know very well. And that word is God. And so God is a word that I'm sure we know, and it has it right here. And you can see it says, see, goddess as another way of saying God, Godhead, God's gods, God word. But then you have that one, and it's Strong's way of giving a small definition. Creator and ruler of the world, Israel and the church. But we'll get into the dictionary portion here in just a second. But the concordance, what it really tries to do is what we see here on the next line where it says in the beginning. That in the beginning, and then you see the capital G kind of italicized, is for God, created the. And so this speaks of the first time that we have the word God used in the Bible. And the first time that it's used is in Genesis 1:1. And this is the words that are expressed in the beginning. These are the words that are expressed in the beginning. God created the. And so this is what some would call the law of first mentions, the first time God's name is mentioned in the Bible. It also shows how many times God is used in the Bible. And as you can see, it goes on and on and on. And for several pages in this Strong's Concordance, it will list all of the different scripture passages the word God is used, with all of those different scriptures lined out for you. And then just to the right of the scripture, before we get to the scriptures, like Genesis 1:1, that GEN is an abbreviation for Genesis. So you would need to know your abbreviations. And at the beginning of the concordance, it does give an example or a legend, if you would, for all of the abbreviations as to what it correlates to. But it just shows Genesis 1:1. The 430 that you see to the right of that 430, is a number that actually connects you with a Hebrew dictionary that's also within this concordance. And we will get to that as well. But I wanted to show you a couple other things as we move along with that. Well, let's just do the 430 now as well. And 430 is actually found right here. And as you see, 430 is one of God's names, Elohim. And so you can see it spelled out in Hebrew. You can see it spelled out as well so that we can pronounce it phonetically. And then you go further and you see a definition. God in the ordinary sense as well. And then down towards the bottom, you can see other magistrates as well. And so it tries to give a small definition of the word. But again, this is the Hebrew and Aramaic dictionary found inside of the Strong's Concordance. And that was a number that was referenced by Strong from the Concordance. And so again, you don't want to mix those two things up. Both exist. So the concordance portion is what helps us to have the law of first mentions, how many times it was used, and we have an alphabetical index of all the words in the Bible. And then this is a small dictionary, but you would probably want to have some other dictionaries that we'll talk about next week with that as well. With that being said, there's also that same thing of the Greek. And so this is the Strong's Expanded Dictionary of Greek New Testament words. And so it will do the exact same thing. We could find God in this as well and go through the Greek words for God. But for the sake of time, I won't go through that as well. I wanted to show one last thing that is also found in this concordance, and that is that it has a miscellaneous section. This is the Harmony of the Gospels. And as you can see right down here, it is the miscellaneous section. And it just has various things. Harmony of the Gospels, you know, that Matthew, Mark, and Luke, it just speaks to, or some would call the synoptics, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And it just breaks down the scriptures that are echoed in each one of those accounts to just give you more information. There's all kind of things in the miscellaneous, the teachings of Christ, if you see that as well. So everything that Christ himself spoke on is in there. It also has prophecies of the Messiah fulfilled in Jesus Christ. We also have the miracles of Jesus Christ that are found here. So many things that are found back here in the miscellaneous. Another nice thing is Old Testament chronology. And you can kind of go through this and it helps you to know right from the very beginning how things started and moved through time. And then you also just have prayers of the Bible as well. So a lot of things to study here in the concordance, a tremendous tool for all of us to use. Prayerfully, this has helped you a little bit more in understanding how to utilize a concordance. Tune in next week as we try to wrap this up, and we're going to talk a little bit about dictionaries. Continue to make God proud in all you say, think, and do.